Artsy Alicia here, and today I'm going to show you how to draw realistic dog ears. Before we get to work, gently color in the general shadows and light spots in your ear. You don't have to put much work into this step, but it is very important for the rest of the artwork as it creates a base layer that you will continue to build upon. After your base layer is complete, you can start adding more layers of color. The trick to drawing dog ears is to make sure each layer is gently applied. This allows for the inclusion of more and more tones over time, which will greatly help in giving your drawing more dimension and color. To make sure I don't lose shadows or light spots as I progress with my layering, I focus on increasing the contrast between the lighter and darker colors. After improving these shades, I blend them into the rest of the ear, helping to give it a more uniform appearance. The amazing thing about coloring realistic portraits in layers is that it gives you the opportunity to add so many different colors that you would not be able to if you completed the ear with one thick shade. This technique requires an immense amount of patience, as it takes a while before you get to see the final product, but it is absolutely worth it. Once you become happy with the colors you've created, you can move on to adding layers of texture. I achieve this by simply using my white colored pencil to add irregular dots around the inside of the ear. Even if you plan on eventually adding color on top of this, it serves as a good starting point for adding more realistic variation to the dog's ear. Once the ear is near its completion, you can start adding more hair to the edges. After the colors start to reach their saturation point, I begin rotating between gradually increasing contrast inside the ear and bringing the hairs closer to where I want them to be. Adding the hair to the outside of the ear is one of my favorite parts of drawing a dog's ear. You finally get to see everything come together, and your art becomes more and more realistic as you blend the hair with the skin inside the ear. Now that nearly all of the color layering is done, I spend most of my time adding more hair, blending it in, and introducing more layers of texture to the skin. After reaching the line where the fur ends, I draw some fine hairs along the border to help blend the outer ear with the inner ear. I usually save this step for when I'm almost done with the drawing. You know when you are finished with layering once you cannot see any of the paper coming through the colored pencil. My inner ear is mostly done, so I can take my attention away and work on the area around it. This step is when the rewards of layering really come into play, as you can finally see how much the black hairs stand out on the saturated paper underneath. After I finish drawing the hairs, I move on to completing the finishing touches of the drawing. I lightly shade some areas that I felt needed improvement, and I use my reference picture to help guide me with my finishing details. Even though you may feel like rushing once you reach the end, you need to remember to take your time and stay patient. As with the rest of the ear, layering takes many different shades to result in a realistic final product. Once you are near the finish line, and you feel like you are so close to achieving that realistic dog ear you've been working so hard to get to, remember to take as much time as you need. Layering is an extremely useful technique that can be applied to many different drawing situations and styles, and it definitely comes in handy when you want to draw yourself a good dog ear. Thank you so much for watching, and see you again soon!